Now, yesterday on Crack the Code, we were talking about this story, which was in the Times making national news headlines. If you crack open the Times this morning, you'll see a chain of Dorset nurseries in the news because they have started serving to their little people, their preschoolers, wild venison. It left us curious. We wanted to know more, so I'm pleased to say that Peter Tofis, who is the catering manager at Topstay Nurseries, joins me on the line now. Morning, Pete.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well. Very lovely to have you there.
Thank you for having us on.
How did this kind of conversation happen? Who is the expert in the chain about wild meat and its sustainability and all that kind of stuff?
Well, initially the story came about when our founder Cheryl headed up to Scotland, and she went on a family holiday and she found out about the culling of venison. I've used it right the way throughout my career. So the idea came about that potentially could we get some of the children to potentially just taste venison and just see really experiment with that. So we got in contact with the British Game Assurance, Leon Chalice Davis, who is a wonderful chef, and Eat Wild, and they really helped us. They really helped us point us in the right direction of where we can source the venison from, and it kind of progressed from there. It had so many strong points, which kind of include exploring new flavors, and nutritional content, and one of the biggest things for us within Tops is the sustainability aspect of it.
Yeah.
It really stemmed from there.
What do you do with it? I think I've only ever eaten venison sausages. There was a few years back now. There was a great spot in Dorset that did some very tasty venison sausages. When you've got your meat butchered and whatever, what do you turn it into?
So we always have the venison come in minced, purely because it's easier for the children to eat.
Sure.
And then we try to create dishes that children can associate with. So they're already their favourites. So things like a venison bolognese, or we currently have a venison orzo bake, and the children adore it. They're familiar with it, it just kind of builds their palates from there. They get to experience different foods.
Yeah, and these are preschool kids. I mean, my 4-year-old's nursery, before he went to school, I loved the fact that they make these great meals for him. I felt like as a parent, it sort of took the weight off me a little bit with what I had to provide him with at home. But is there another bit of this, Pete, where, somewhere in amongst this, somebody is talking to the kids about sustainability? Or do you not worry them with that? That is something, to the other side for the nursery operation to worry about?
No, absolutely. We speak to the children about sustainability as well, because if we want to change the future, it has to start with children. It's very important. So it's just simple things. We're not necessarily going into depth, but we explain that we have to take care of the planet, and we talk about all of those things with the children, so they have a good idea of it, and they're very conscious of it growing up.
Brilliant. And a couple of things then. So I wonder what kind of reaction you had from parents, and whether you've been surprised about the kind of attention that this has got in the news. So let's take those in order, shall we? So parents, first of all, have you had any kickback at all from them?
Do you know what? The feedback's been really, really positive.
Yeah.
It's still very early days. We've had venison on the menu for just over 2 weeks, and the children have experienced 2 dishes, which, as I mentioned, they adored. The feedback has been one of positive surprise. So when the practitioners tell them that their children have eaten venison today, they're normally pleasantly surprised, and we kind of get comments of, "Can we join them for lunch?"
And what about the reaction in the news? I don't think I've heard anybody being critical of this yet. I mean, I guess if people are going to eat meat, they might as well eat it that's sustainable, responsibly sourced, and it sounds like you're ticking all those boxes. But have you been surprised by how much people have had their heads turned by this?
Yeah, very slightly. We kind of thought that we would just we would try this, obviously for the benefit of the children. Experimenting, eating really good food. But it's taken off from there, and And, Eat Wild have had contact from other educational settings asking if they can put it on the menu as well. So that's really positive too.
Okay. Look, Pete, next time you're doing one of these venison and orzo bakes or something, drop us a line. I'll be around with my Tupperware and I can bring some into the studio for the rest of the team, okay?
I'll be sure to do that. Absolutely.
Really nice to talk to you this morning. Pete Tofis there, who is the catering manager at Tops Day Nurseries. You might have heard us talking yesterday on the show as I cracked the code. The fact that they have started serving venison in their locations. Plenty across Dorset, a few over the border into Hampshire as well.